All right, let's move on to the Knights and the shock selection. Well, you could say it's a shock selection. Dylan Brown to play halfback. A lot of speculation, conjecture around this, what they were going to do, like the other three teams over here. What were the Knights going to do? How are they going to fit everyone into that spine? I'll come to you, Reedy. What do you think?
I think they made the right call. I think Fletcher Sharp's the right call because I think he's too talented not to be there ahead of Sandon Smith. I'm not sure who runs the team. That's the I suppose Kalen does, because I think we saw at Parramatta, Dylan Brown couldn't really run that football team. I'm not sure it's in Fletcher Sharp's armoury either, so I imagine Kalen's a guy directed, and Kalen's pretty smart footballer.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is, and this was a while ago, that Kalen's defended fullback, but in attack he'll very much play like a half, and Fletcher can then swing back at fullback in attack as well, and they can mix that. That's the good thing about the lethal players that they've got, is that they can be versatile. But again, that's hard to, come up in an off-season or a pre-season and deliver, round one, but, probably the first few months.
Having not really played together. Yeah. Ponga hasn't played any trial games, has been limited with his injury as well. But, no, I think it's the right call. You look at Newcastle last year, and even in the trials to start this year, they've just really struggled to find a way to score points. Fletcher Sharp is arguably, like Kalen Ponga is their most dynamic player, but Fletcher Sharp has elements of that as well. Yeah. So if there are any chance of winning on the weekend, they're going to find some points, and I think he helps that.
You guys are sitting there Monday morning about to write a story about Newcastle. Who's under more pressure, Dylan Brown or Kalen Ponga?
Oh, tough question, Gordy. Probably Kalen, I reckon. Even though Dylan's on that monster contract, I think Kalen's the guy that everyone expects to lead them to the promised land.
I'm going to say Dylan, Gordy, because we know what level Kalen can get to, and there's a confidence in that camp that he will get there in the end. Dylan had an amazing run for the Kiwis at the back end of last year, but we haven't seen that consistent footy from him at the Eels. So I'm going to say Dylan Brown.
Big year for Dylan Brown and Kalen Ponga as well. Now, there's a lot of pressure on both of them. There's no doubt about that. But what about Justin Holbrook? He's got a big job as well, taking on a team that have signed a big player in Brown, but also Kalen there, and he's got big decisions to make, which he's already made for round one. How do you see this playing out, and how do you see him coaching the team?
Well, he'll get time. I mean, he's got to get time. He's just got the job, right? But I think he's been a successful coach at times. Gordy made the finals at the Gold Coast one year, didn't he? He's a smart attacking coach. No, he's got some players there that he can work with who are smart attacking players. I drank the Kool-Aid a bit, Braith, because at one point I tipped them to make the 8. I've slid off that a little bit this year. I've dropped off that a bit. Okay. I'm not sure they'll make it, but I think they're going to go better than people think.
The thing with Newcastle is you look at their strengths, their front foot players, those attacking players that we've all mentioned, particularly down the short side. My concern is who's getting them on the front foot. That forward pack is nowhere near top 8 material. So they've got to try and manoeuvre a way to try and withstand what that forward pack is probably not up to it.
But let's change colours. The Knights, obviously Dylan Brown. A lot spoken about him. Do you like him wearing the number 7?
Look, I think he's done all his great work with the 6 on his back. He's a dominant left-sided player. Fletcher Sharp is a talent. He's a try scorer. He's a line breaker. Dylan Brown's going to have to play out of his skin. And we've seen historically, Braith, you can back this up, when a 5'8" tries to play halfback, Jerome Luai last year, they lose their dynamic thrust running forward, and they start trying to service everyone in the team and doing things that a traditional halfback has done. This guy running the football is great. So if he keeps that up, maybe he can get the job done, but I'm worried about their kicking game, really nailing their last plays with Dylan Brown being the main guy. But the thing about all this is I think Kalen Ponga can be an everywhere man for the Knights. He can be fullback, first receiver, second receiver, main kicker. If Kalen Ponga gets the Dalian type year, I think it can massage some of the gaps.
Mick, do you see it similar, playing out that way with Newcastle?
I'm not sure, Braith. I'm not. I'm looking forward to seeing Newcastle play for the first 6 weeks. I've worked with Dylan. I love him as a 6. I love him as a left-sided player. I loved his form and the freedom that he played with for the Kiwis at the back end of the year, and just how important Kieran Foran and that type of half, that experienced half around him. He played his best footy, with Mitch Moses, who's a genuine 7. And it'd be interesting because if you look at the Knights' spine, the Titans are going through a similar situation. They've had Campbell, Kinney, and Brimson for so long, haven't they? And they try and fit their best players into the team, and they've done that with Sharp because he's such a good player. Was Sharp better at still so young in his career, playing on the wing where we saw him? be able to roam midfield and still cause havoc and play like that second fullback at times, and then you give Sandon Smith an opportunity to run the footy team as that genuine 7. Time will
So you
tell.
put Smith at 7?
I'm not saying that. I just think time will
Alright.
tell. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how it works.
Hey, do you have any money left after golf?
No, he took it all.
Who do I tip? Who do I tip?
He paid
Knights
for
or
it.
Cowboys or Dragons or Bulldogs?
Paid for golf.
paid for
I
it
won
and took
golf,
my
and I
money.
got one beer off him at the end. Seriously, you're good, you are.
Hey, your contract, come on.
Quick tips. Obviously, you're going to go the Dragons against the Dogs. What about the other game?
I think the Cowboys.
Cowboys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Bulldogs beat the Dragons, and I agree. I think the Cowboys, what they did against Penrith, even though they were reserve grade, so they look pretty interesting.